Good evening. Would you all stand with me for the invocation and pledge of allegiance, please?
Father, as we gather this evening, we're here to do your work. Thank you for the awesome responsibility of service and for the things that you've given us responsibility over. Give us wisdom, give us discernment. Lord, continue to watch over our city and show us your favor. We ask all this in Jesus' name.
Amen. Go ahead, Mr. Stockstead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to call to order this regular session of the Vienna City Council for August the 8th, 2024. Let the record reflect that I've taken roll that all members of council, with the exception of Mr. Leach, are present this evening. Mr. Bibby is joining us by phone. First item on our agenda this evening is our public forum. So we will start this evening with Mr. Brian Flynn.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. I've been reviewing the ADA guidelines having to do with sidewalks. And the sidewalks going up through Vienna, there's a couple of issues there that should be looked at. Namely, the street light that's put in front of the bodega, the electrical conduit plates that are going to be placed in front of Dairy Queen, the old Hardee's, and the dry cleaners. They're exposed right now, and I know they're going to have plates on top of them, but why do they have to be put right in the middle of the sidewalk? Somebody with a wheelchair runs over that, they can pop the plates up, and then you got a tripping hazard. You know, it could have been something that was put over in the grass rather than in the sidewalk. The other issue, I was reading online about the swimming pool. You know, it's going to close here within the next week. And I understand kids are going back to college and the lifeguards, you know, they don't have enough time or enough people to run it. But I would think as adults, we could easily go into the pool without needing lifeguards or be our own lifeguards. So why not have it still open to the public for 18 years and older for Aqua Zumba, whatever, and have people sign a waiver? So that's all I have. Thank you.
Chad Emmerich.
Chad Emmerich through 339th Street, Vienna, West Virginia. Good evening, Mayor and Council. After a presentation by the Wood County Board of Education to this council regarding a new school location, I began researching not only the legal documents regarding Jackson Park, but also its history. Recently, after reading a letter written to the editor of the Parkersburg News regarding Jackson Park, I believe it necessary to share some information that I have discovered. During my research, I did discover that, in fact, through bank documentation, that there was the entire landmass of Jackson Park used as collateral on that loan from the Huntington National Bank for the pool renovation. Although this administration has adamantly defended this action as justifiable, many have still had issues with it. I have also received information by an original VRIA member regarding the transfer of Jackson Park to the VRIA to the city of Vienna. I question if this action should have been permitted due to the fact that the VRIA included in their agreement that a park board was to be established to govern and care and protect the park, going insofar as to contain in the ordinance that was passed on April 8, 1965 and remains today. The park board shall have the duty of maintaining expenditures for any fiscal year with the appropriation made by council and shall not incur or contract any debt of liability which anticipates a levy or income of future fiscal year. If the VRIA did not want the park to be put at risk by the park board, why should it have been any different today by the council? Regardless, my first question is, how can the city give away any property that currently has a lien against it? Following this, it discovered and prompted me to research the connected deeds related to Tract 35-2, which the school is located on. During this phase of my investigation, I uncovered that there were several land covenants not included in the most recent deed dated 28 November 2023 between the City of Vienna and the Building Commission. These tracts of lands had deeds connected to them which make up 35-2. The first two were easily found and contained the same land use restrictions, expecting and reserving all oil, gas, and mineral rights in the underlying tracts, that the party of the second covenants and agrees that the above described tract shall at all times be used as a public park and shall be known as Jackson Memorial Park. It is further agreed that this covenant runs with the land. The third deed connected to 35-2 was not so easily found, and after an extensive search, I uncovered that the deed book reference in the City of Vienna legal documents was incorrect. This was due to the fact that documents that had been created in relation to the pool renovation were mislabeled with erroneous information. After I discovered this error, I was able to locate the original deeds in which Mr. Jackson had donated the property to the Vienna Recreation Improvement Association and then from the VRIA to the City of Vienna. The original following deeds include the land covenant. The party of the second covets and agrees the above described tract that all times it shall be used as a public park and shall be known as Jackson Memorial Park, that if any time this tract shall not be used, the title shall revert to the grantors, their heirs forever. In it being further agreed that this covenant runs with the land. Although I'm not a real estate attorney, I do believe that the City of Vienna must adhere to these land covenants included in the deeds when dealing with any tract of land included in Jackson Park. These land covenants should have been previously uncovered or addressed by this administration or the Board of Education before any plans were created. How can restrictions so clear and legally binding be ignored? Were they overlooked or were they removed? In closing, we can agree that Mr. Jackson supported the Board of Education by donating 15 acres of the building site for Jackson Middle School. But the deed dated September 3rd, 1958, he also included a stipulation that said that if the Board of Education no longer used the property for educational purposes, that it would be vested back to the VRIA. This shows that he supported the school, but his intention was always to safeguard the property as a public park and recreational area, not for commercial conversion or profit. My desire is to see the residents of Vienna get the best school in the best location, free from the future liabilities and extensive costs, while not taking away from our other public parks and recreational facilities. During a time when so many other municipalities are improving and they are also expanding recreational park areas within their communities. Thank you.
Tony Morrison.
Tony Morrison, 1210 15th Street. Mayor, Council, thanks for your time. I think I've said this before, but I grew up here, 23rd Street. Went to college at 18 and then really never came back. This has been a vacation home. I bought a house here in 2016 and more or less kind of just was in and out of town. And so this has been my first kind of like real summer as an adult in this town, to give me like a good taste. And I just wanted to say, I've been really impressed. There's a lot of things going on right now that are, improving the city. And there's also a lot of things that are community oriented that are happening that has been great. A lot of VBSs that I've got to take my kids to, a lot of free events like the Vienna Fun Days, and you got groups like Holidays and the Wood County Prevention Coalition and their scavenger hunt, the FOP and the pool events, and I mean it's just tons of stuff for our kids to do, and it's really been cool to kind of see, like I said before, I was a kid and now I kind of look at it from a different perspective. It's good to see it. It's good to see, our community, kind of everybody pitching in.
The one thing that when with all this stuff, like all this growth that we have going on, hiring Thrasher and, our 4 properties that we're looking at as far as growth goes, I think we've done a great job so far. I just want to really challenge council and our steering committee and anybody who's going to be involved, hands-on with what we have going on with Thrasher Group moving forward. I'd really like to challenge everyone to kind of keep our teenagers in mind. I believe we've done great for our kids, and the parents with young kids. We've obviously got stuff going on, but those young kids are going to grow up. And having grown up here as a teenager, there wasn't a whole lot to do, and I still don't think there is. So I just would I really like council and our steering committee, everybody just to kind of keep that in the forefront as we move forward in this, with the kayak launch and with, Spencer's Landing and John's Manville and, the property behind the mall, whatever we're planning on doing. I just want to try and make that an objective, maybe make it a personal objective for each one of you that's here, that's involved, to say, all right, how can we address, our teenagers? How can we make this place a little better for our teenagers? And I really think in doing that, you're going to attract younger, where I'm basically a big kid. I'm a teenager at heart. And I like to do the same kind of thing. So that's really all I had this evening. Thank you all.
Tammy Rhodes.
Good evening, Tammy Rhodes, and I live at 4604 6th Avenue. First, I want to say that I'm really happy that the temporary kayak launch got stopped. I really think that would have been a travesty had that continued, and I think it would have jeopardized the property down the road. I'm also really happy that the FLAP grant money is forthcoming and that we can progress on that. My concern at the 12th Street property is that that property needs a complete plan and a design prior to anything else being done on the property, including amenities and activities, parking, drive areas, possible uses for the old maintenance garage. And I'm hoping that Thrasher would be able to do a design for this area while creating the master plan. In reviewing some of the old things that I had gotten some time ago, I'm really disappointed in the Burgess and Nyepel plans that have been done. And I was just going to put two things up here. Hold on. So this is one of the alternative plans. And what I don't like about this is that they have the parking here, not just the only parking, but parking right on the riverbank. And I just think that doesn't have to be. There can be designs done to remedy them. And this is one that Kim Williams used in her live stream on the kayak launch. And this is a different view of it. But this shows parking here and here. But then this road going back down into the 12th Street property to the south, and the old maintenance garage is here. So that road will circle the whole park, and then that's an issue for safety and people if that's developed, as we all hope, into a park. What you need, to me, my opinion, we know what those are worth. I did this design a couple years ago when we were talking about the 12th Street property. And, when you've got a kayak launch and things like that, you really don't need big parking next to the riverbank or next to the kayak launch. What you really need is a staging area. So in this, like when you come down 12th Street here, you come around this place here, and along the riverbank by the kayak launch is a kayak drop-off and pickup. So people can come down around there, circle back, and then go over to this area, which is by the railroad tracks, not taking up valuable riverfront, for a parking lot. And then when they get ready to leave, they exit the parking lot, out onto 12th Street again, back down and around this, pick up their kayak and their gear, and then exit back on 12th Street, which prevents a whole lot of traffic and problems in that area. But I'm not an architect, I'm not a landscape designer, so take my little drawing that I did, that's my playtime. And I know the city has talked about having a boat launch many times. And I assume when you're saying that, you're talking about the concrete, this, like a driveway down and extends somewhat out into the water. And I just want to say that if the city, as Thrasher, if they will agree to do this component of it, as they're looking at this, I just think that, the Corps of Engineers permit was for a kayak ramp and a dock project. It wasn't for a boat launch. So a new permit, I would assume, would have to be issued. And then that makes me wonder what other permits would need to be completed, and what does this mean to a mussel survey, because that has not been done yet, and I'm not even sure if it's required. And then in addition to the Corps of Engineers, would surveys and evaluations need to be completed with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service or with the West Virginia DNR as well, because they also have authority, like the DNR is anything below the water, well, not below the water line, not the water, but the stream bed or the riverbed. And Fish and Wildlife, we know what things they're responsible for. And then would this impact the flap grant at all if you try to put a boat launch with the kayak launch? I don't know. I'm asking. But my concern is that having kayaks and motorboats in the same general close proximity to each other, like you would if you shared a boat launch and a kayak launch, or even separated somewhat, is safety. Kayaks and motorboats don't play real well together sometimes. And if you have a kayak launch on a boat ramp, say like they do in Williamstown, there's a big issue with traffic and, people getting in and out, and, people trying to launch their kayaks in the middle of the boat launch, and leaving it there. So I just really hesitate to think that's a good idea.
Ms. Rhodes, you're out of time, ma'am.
Okay. I was just going to say that I hope that Thrasher can work on this proposal. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I cannot read your handwriting. Michael,
Yes, I pretend to be a doctor.
and you'll introduce yourself. You'll tell us your last name.
If anybody is interested, I have some copies of this. I've not used this, so I'll try. My name is Michael O'Donnell. I'm from 20 Ashwood Drive in Vienna, O'Donnell. I wanted to come before council tonight to mention a safety issue I think that's occurred since the pool was improved, and congratulations. I think the pool is a wonderful addition to Vienna, and it looks very beautiful, so thank you for that. My family and I walk our dogs on a regular basis up Jackson Park Trail, and we have noticed this summer, since the pool is improved, that the sight line from the sidewalk has been obstructed with the pool building, and I have some diagrams and drawings to show you that, and I'd like to see if I can at least make a suggestion, so maybe that can be improved for the safety. I know school's starting soon, and I'm concerned that someone could be at risk if it stays the way it is right now. So there's a drawing. You want to hand those out? And she's got papers for the council if you guys want to look it up. Can you hand those out, Leah? On the left-hand side of this picture, there's a Google map of the pool area as well as the Jackson Middle School area, and I've placed an X where the crosswalk ends, and you typically walk across the crosswalk. You can see that in the right-hand picture toward the school, and you can see the school in the distance there, and that's how students often get to and from the school area. Since the since the pool was renovated, there's been a change into the design, and the pool building was moved further forward. And this picture is taken from the point where you would enter the crosswalk, looking up the road to the left. And previously, you could see all the way up the road, but since the pool pump house is in the way now, you only have a limited sight line of about 220 feet. As a result, it's very difficult and leaves you very little time, about 2.7 seconds actually, for you to detect a car coming down the hill. And I know people are only supposed to go 25 there or 15 during school, but some people occasionally go faster than that. And even at the school speed, there's only about 4 seconds for people to get across that part of the road. And that's, I don't think, enough time for people to do it safely. If you've not been up there and you want to venture up there and try it, you'll see there's very little time. Here's a diagram that I did of what that area looks like now. You can see the sight line is in yellow currently, and the obstruction of the pool building. And if one suggestion that I had, and I'm certainly open to other suggestions or ways to do this to improve the safety, would be to move the, or actually improve the crosswalk going toward the pool area from the tennis side, and then to move the crosswalk up toward what is the back entrance to the school area, so that there would be a sight line that goes straight up the road like it did previously, which would give people approximately twice the access or visibility, and you would have the ability to actually not cross instead of just head into the road without enough notice if cars coming. So the other thing that we might want to consider, you might want to consider, is put some type of additional signage up there, or something that maybe flashes, especially during school time, to make sure that no one, everybody slows down to the required speed limit. I certainly would hate to have anybody be injured, either a citizen or especially one of the students that goes to school there. So thank you very much.
Michael,
Yes, sir.
I'm going to give your pictures back to you.
All right.
That gentleman right back there in the light blue shirt. Congratulations, you're a winner. I like your suggestion, thank you.
Thank you.
Please Craig, make sure you run it by Chief, Craig, make sure you run it by Chief Powell. All right? I don't think that's an unreasonable request. We can move that up. All right. Mr. Bibby, are you with us, sir?
Yes.
Here we go. We're going to go. The minutes from the regular council meeting printed on the regular council meeting on July the 25th, 2024 have been printed, posted, and circulated. Are there any corrections to the minutes? There are no objections, and the minutes will stand approved as posted. Councilman Leach is out of town this evening, so I will give the reconciliation of funds. It's in your packet. As you can tell, the city of Vienna is solvent, and all of our bills are paid. Moving on to new business this evening, the first item on our agenda this evening is a resolution appointing Cassandra Rapp to a full 5-year term with the Vienna Library Board. Be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Vienna that Cassandra Rapp is hereby appointed to a full 5-year term as a director to serve on the Vienna Library Board. Said appointment is to begin July the 1st, 2024, and expires June 30th, 2029. This is a position to be served without compensation. Kathy, you've been on the board a long time. How long has Cass been on the board?
I don't know, because she was already on for the president when I came on, so it's been a while. I've been on like 5, 6 years.
I think she's been on 2 terms, but anyway, this is a reappointment this evening.
I've been long enough to prove that she knows what she's doing.
There you go. All right. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the resolution appointing Cassandra Rapp to a full 5-year term with the Vienna Library Board.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution. Is there any further discussion? Would you poll council, please?
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Bibby? Mr. Rapp?
I'm going to abstain.
Oh, very good.
I vote yes, but I'll put that in.
All right. I say yes. Mr. Mancuso?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Second item this evening is a resolution setting forth the process for selecting a temporarily sitting council member. Mr. Skogstad, if you would, sir.
How much you want me to go into it?
Well, we're early. Let's do it all.
Oh, good. I wish I would have written it shorter. This is a resolution setting forth the process for selecting a temporarily sitting council member. Be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Vienna as follows. 1, the City of Vienna on July 25, 2024 adopted a procedure for selecting a temporary replacement council member. The council member position was declared vacant by majority vote of council at a regularly scheduled and noticed council meeting on July 25, 2024. Actually, that first date is incorrect in there, but that is supposed to reflect the date of adoption. Number 3, the City of Vienna hereby solicits applications for the position of council member. This position is to temporarily fill the unexpired term of the open council position until his or her successor is elected and qualified. The general election is set November 5th, 2024. Applications submitted in person must be submitted to the office of the mayor Monday through Friday during regular business hours, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., beginning at 8 a.m. August 9th, 2024, and ending at 4 p.m. August 22nd, 2024. 5, any application submitted by U.S. mail must be received by the office of the mayor no earlier than August 9th, 2024, no later than August 22nd, 2024, or if by private courier marked as delivered no earlier than August 9th, 2024, no later than August 22nd, 2024. 6, any application submitted outside of those dates will not be considered. 7, all prospective candidates must be residents of the City of Vienna and must be qualified voters entitled to vote for members of the city's governing body, as per Vienna Municipal Code 103.04. Number 8, all prospective candidates shall file a certificate of candidacy declaring him or herself to be a candidate as set out in Vienna Municipal Code 103.03, paragraphs A and B. Number 9, any filing fees for the temporary council member candidate are waived. 10, interviews of prospective council members shall be held at a special council meeting scheduled August 27th, 2024 at the Vienna City Building, at the Vienna City Council Chambers, 609 29th Street, Vienna, West Virginia. Number 11, interviews of prospective candidates will be conducted in an open meeting. 12, each candidate shall be interviewed individually and outside of the presence of the other candidates. Prospective candidates are expected to refrain from viewing any live stream of other candidates' interviews. Number 13, at the conclusion of all the interviews, council may enter executive session to deliberate. Upon returning from executive session, council shall nominate and vote on one candidate to be temporarily appointed to the vacant seat.
I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the resolution setting forth the process for selecting a temporarily sitting council member.
So moved.
Second? All right. It's been moved and seconded that we bring forth the resolution. Is there any further discussion?
I will say that I don't know that it needs to necessarily be formally put in here, but I do want to say that we had previously said that nobody that is currently on the ballot can be considered, and that should also be for any current write-in candidates or anybody that may potentially want to become a write-in candidate, because that write-in deadline comes after we will be selecting this person. So in order to not show any unfair favor to somebody, then we are going to say that it applies to write-ins and current people on the ballot. So does that need to be added to this?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, the ordinance sets for, I mean, I'd agree with you, but I don't know that we can say that because the ordinance already lays out how we have to do it.
No, the ordinance does not specifically address the issue. It does give a procedure. This resolution complies with the procedure. I think the best way to handle it is if you are a current candidate and you choose to apply, understand that you're likely not going to be considered for the open position on council, but I don't know that it makes, I don't think the ordinance specifically addresses it one way or another. I think that's just something that was generally considered whenever we dealt with it, whenever we drafted the ordinance, and whenever we drafted the resolution the last, I think, 2 times that we've had to go through this particular process.
Is there any further discussion? All right. And I'll call for the question. Would you poll council, please?
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Bibby?
Yes.
Mr. Rapp?
Yes.
I say yes. Mr. Mancuso?
Yes.
All right. Passes unanimously. Last item on our agenda this evening is the discussion of the kayak launch project. So I guess I'll start. Recently, I had a conference call with the Department of Highways in Charleston. They are the agency that's in charge of our FLAP grant. At that time, they asked me for several things as backup documents, which I have not submitted yet because I was frustrated with the way the system works. We've had that FLAP grant for over 3 years, and we've never seen any positive movement on when the money will be allocated and what have you. And we went through lots and lots of studies, and we've gotten various designs about what should be built down there, what could be built down there, various locations, et cetera. And so in my conversation with Charleston, he said, well, I have good news. He said, the money's been approved. It will drop on September the 10th. And so at that time, we started having conversations about, what's the next step forward. And so that's the reason why I asked to have this put on the agenda this evening. We had an opportunity at no cost to the city to have a kayak launch installed at the 12th Street property. It was an incredible facility that would not have cost us a dime. And it absolutely would have been the best facility anywhere around us, anywhere. And so due to the controversy that came because some people were not in favor of that, the people that were willing to donate the labor and the time to improve the site decided that possibly that wasn't the best direction to go. And so now we are to the point where we will not have a kayak launch in that particular location unless it is approved by council and we move forward. The thing that is frustrating to me is we've worked on this thing for so long. And when Miss Rhodes was up there, she put a picture up of the final drawing that was submitted by Burgess and Nyepel for this project. And we had an opportunity to build, even though it would have been on a temporary basis, it would have given us the insight into how this facility would work, the changes that needed to be made. If it was something that would work, then we would have, looked into options as far as buying a replacement dock, a new gangway, whatever it took to accommodate that particular site. We would have ended up with all of that bank being improved to where we could have mowed it with a mower instead of having our guys down over the hill with weed eaters. And so I am very frustrated with this whole process. And so I am now back to council. The drawing that was on the screen a little while ago, and I'm $982,000 or $962,000. $892,000 is the cost for the kayak launch that was put up there. Now, you take the $300,000 flap grant away, you're still looking at $600,000 out of the city coffers to build the kayak launch. And so we are here this evening to discuss what direction you would like for me to continue working with. And so I'd like to open the discussion for whatever opinions you all would like to make.
Well, I think we need to wait and see what Thrasher wants to come up with for that. They're looking at that area. We signed the contract with them 2 weeks ago. So I guess I don't understand your comment when you said that the kayak launch is not being considered for 12th Street. Did I misunderstand you?
The one that we were going to put in, that project's dead.
Right, I understand that.
All right. And so the original site that was drafted up by Burgess and Nyepel, all right, that plan is still active, but I refuse to do anything more until council gives me direction on which way you want to go with this. All right, if you're saying that because of the opportunity that Thrasher coming on board is something that council wants to do, then I'm here to hear whatever comments you all have to make.
Well, I mean, I think that that's probably the best thing to do. I mean, that's what one of the things we're supposed to look at. I think for me, 12th Street, you know, I had to be convinced of this for a while because I thought maybe Spencer's Landing was the best place for the kayak launch. But it's not. It's really 12th Street. The water is so much nicer down there. It's a nice beach area. But that one plan that Burgess and Nyepel had, and I understand it was nearly $900,000, makes, you know, that's expensive. But I think there could be a different plan. That particular plan, it had pilings or piers out into the river so that, you know, everything was anchored that way. It was going to cost a lot more money to build it out there because of you would have to take a barge out there to build it and all that kind of stuff. I know we looked at a strong arm way to attach a dock to the bank, okay? And that really didn't allow us ADA access there from the plan that we were shown, but I'm not sure that we can't get ADA access in a different way there. So I mean, I just think that we need to talk to Thrasher and see what they come up with.
I agree. I think Thrasher is the next logical step. It's not that I'm not comfortable spending the money. It's that I think we can do better for the money and find out what Thrasher's, you know, idea is. You know, it may be the 12th Street property is, you know, they'll evaluate 12th Street versus Spencer's Landing, and then 12th Street itself, they'll you know, look and see if where we were originally thinking is even the best spot for it. So I definitely think, for me personally, I think it would make a lot of sense to do the boat ramp and the kayak launch and all of that from down there. And the other day in Budget and Finance, when we discussed this, Craig Metz had mentioned, you know, about the amount of you know, concrete that it takes to park, you know, these, you could see, you know, whether it's at Williamstown or wherever, you know, when you're parking these, you know, it's a big parking lot. You have to have a big parking lot to pull boats and that kind of stuff and trailers. And also, in order to not give up the green space that we want so badly at Spencer's Landing, 12th Street would be, I think, a great location for that, so that, you know, we're not giving up the green space. So I definitely think that we should see what Thrasher says and have them evaluate all of that as part of their plan.
I think Kim and Melissa said it very well. I think waiting for Thrasher to come up with a design, especially knowing that they're going to provide some cost estimates to the different phases of the project, that makes a lot of sense. And to have more of a comprehensive or a fully realized plan for 12th Street beyond just a kayak launch, so we can make sure that it is located in the right spot and parking is organized the right way and stuff. I think that's definitely seems appropriate at this time.
Mr. Bibby, any comments, sir?
Well, I kind of concur with everything that's been said relative to the Thrasher group, and kind of go from there. I think that would give us all a better idea and a better understanding for all of us on what direction, if any, we want to go.
All right. So when the gentleman from Charleston called, he asked for three things. He wants a copy of the plan. And so now we have no plan. So we're not going to be able to submit that information to them. They asked for a copy of the permit, which we have, which is still in effect. I believe, Craig, if I'm not mistaken, that permit is good until 2025. Okay, so we'll be fine with the permit. The other thing that they asked for was a right-of-way for the utilities. Since we own all of the property down there, obviously we will write a letter for ourselves saying that we have the permission for the utilities on our own property. So that is not going to be an issue. I have no idea what impact this is going to have on the FLAP grant, because when I tell them that we've decided that we're going to go back to square one and start all over with a different engineering firm, I will get back to you on whatever their response is for that, because I honestly don't know. So that is the plan that I will submit to Charleston and tell them, where we're at with that. I still think it's a viable project, and we still have time, as long as they'll allow us to redesign it or reconfigure it to their specifications. All right? Okay. Mr. Scoggs, any comments before we leave that subject?
I'll ask Craig the question that I asked before is it possible to build a ADA accessible, and I'm not asking you for your a definite opinion, but in your experience, is it possible to build an ADA compliant kayak launch or a place where people can put their kayaks in the water for under $250,000? Okay.
Okay. All right. If there's no further discussion, then we will move on to council comments.
Wanted to let everybody know that the pool has had a great season. The final day, due to lifeguard availability, is August 18th. So that's a Sunday, and we will do our best to try to extend the season on the front end and the back end for next year. But for this year, because of lifeguards going back to school and that kind of thing, then August 18th will be the final day for the pool. To address the issue about lifeguards and whether or not people can swim there, by our ordinances, we have to have lifeguards at the pool. So that's the short version of it, but we can't open the pool if we don't have lifeguards. So another thing, Russ, if I could ask real quick, on the resolution that I had the wrong date on, would that have been January 13th, 22?
It's the date that the ordinance was passed, and right now I can't remember what the date was.
Okay, so I'll just double check that. I've got it
It's a
highlighted.
scrivener's error. It should be, it just says that we passed a procedure. That's the procedure. It's not that important, and it's not important to the overall part of the resolution,
Okay.
but for correctness,
Okay,
it's the date the original ordinance was passed.
okay, I'll double check it.
I just wanted to pick up on what Melissa said. Last Friday, I attended the free pool party with the DJ and the movie. And I have to tell you, that was outstanding. It really was. Just the way I came in, there was a little bit of a delay because there was rain. And I was a few minutes late, and so I happened to come as everybody was piling into the pool. So watching 300 people come out of that parking lot and go into the pool, and the kids lost their minds. They had such a great time. And then I didn't stay for the movie, but I did see pictures online, and I thought it was, once again, super cool to see the lights in the pool and the kids swimming and the movie going. And I'm over the moon because I love events like that. So thank you.
Mr. Bibby, any comments this evening, sir?
I have none.
All right. We have one more family fun weekend left. 24th?
The 17th.
17th.
Yeah.
All right. I get very frustrated when I hear people make comments about things that we deal with every day that really have no idea what they're talking about. And so I would caution you that when you read the stories on Facebook that people are putting out there that have absolutely no factual basis whatsoever, to do your own fact checking, to look into the true stories. Vienna is an absolute wonderful town. I don't know of any other city in West Virginia that has as much going for it as we do. And as Kim pointed out, that family night the other night with the free swim in the pool with the movie was incredible. The FOP party was incredible. The scavenger hunt up at McDonough Park was fabulous. I mean, there are so many kids that are being entertained and having a good time. Jackson Park is absolutely one of the greatest things that the city of Vienna has. And if you read the letter that Mr. Jackson's granddaughter wrote in the paper, it's very, I think that she was right. I think the vision that Mr. Jackson had for that property has been adhered to. And over the years, as the park started to develop, the park board realized that they did not have the resources to develop it in the fashion that it should be. And that's why the property resorted back to the city of Vienna. We had maintenance crews. We had all of the other things that it takes to take care of 72 acres. And so it's a great thing that Mr. Jackson was generous to the city, and over the years, it's grown and it's expanded. And I think that the things that are going on are being very well done. And I certainly appreciate every bit of it because, I have a grandson right now that's playing football, and it is absolutely super to watch those kids go up there and play football on the Jackson football field and know all the work that went into building that and what a beautiful stadium it is and all of the other things that we have as residents here that we can use each and every day if we choose. And so I'm grateful for that. And anyway, that's it for me. So if no one has any more comments, meeting adjourned.